Good morning everyone. In this video I'm going to be analysing the live price action for EU and DXY to see what trading opportunities there may be today. You're going to see my strategy and my analysis, so if you're interested in those then please stick around. Okay, we're starting off on the daily. On the top is EU, on the bottom is DXY. What can we see from the daily? Of course, last week, pretty much the entire week since we swept our previous weekly high on Tuesday, we closed out bearish every single day, and of course on the Friday it was another bearish engulfing. We had taken the sell side liquidity from here, here and even down here, and so far none of that yielded any type of bullish close or bullish response, at least on the daily on the higher time frame. Now just below price you can see we have an order block here with a imbalance or fair value gap, which I've pointed out with this daily box here. So price looks to be attracted to at least that next POI. So the bearish momentum has been quite strong and we're clearly in a bearish trend, given we've made new lower lows, right? Broken through these lows with no issue. Now we also have our previous daily highs and lows and previous weekly lows, previous weekly highs. Obviously these are still intact at the moment. And if we go over to DXY down here, it should be the inverse, which it is. We've had a bullish run, broken above these highs, creating a new bullish daily leg. We have swept or closed out and mitigated the buy side liquidity above this previous high. So that's the only real difference between the two. We closed below this low very obviously here, and we didn't close above this high. So that's buy side liquidity from DXY. Could result in some sort of pullback. Of course, nothing convincing just yet. Previous daily high and previous weekly high just above, with previous daily low below, all still intact. And just like on EU, we have this same imbalance with order block above in price, which price may be attracted to in the future. So I think that's everything on the daily. It just, bearish momentum, bearish leg, and we've taken a lot of sell side liquidity and we have a new target. So let's go to the 4 hour and see what that looks like. So of course here on the 4 hour it was never going to look that different to the daily, but the leg is quite clear here. I've done the leg from the top here to the bottom, so you can see this would be considered a discount and this would be considered a premium. We obviously have premium POIs up here with imbalances and order block. This is where we had swept that previous weekly high, which we then went on to break down from during last week, where there was plenty of news announcements. Now in the discount, there is still plenty of POIs. We have our imbalance here, then up here, order block with imbalance, which is towards the equilibrium here. And also, I guess if you look at those concepts, a breaker block / resistance, previous support turn resistance. So given that we are in an extreme discount here, of course, price could at least pull back to this area. I've just pointed that one out because it's the most obvious, as opposed to these here, but they could all be valid and, price may mitigate them and continue, but we'll discuss that. The same POI is sort of available here on DXY. We have 4 hour order block here within this imbalance, which is around that same area here. So if price were to pull back towards here, we should also be within that POI on DXY, so those are aligned. Again, of course, we still have more discount POIs with a 4 hour order block and imbalance, much more into the discount. If I zoom back out just a little bit, we will be able to see that we've mitigated a historical imbalance here, and price, you can see, closed out above this. So that's also technically a POI field there. I haven't drawn it out because I don't think it's that necessary. We've taken the buy side from here, the buy side liquidity, and the sell side liquidity from here. So whatever price does on the lower time frames, I can just consider that, break of structures and a pullback. I don't need to draw in every historical POI. I think it's clear we may have this price draw here ultimately to this daily POI. We're in a discount of this large 4 hour leg. We have imbalances to draw price above. Right, we've taken sell side and buy side liquidity. So as of yet, we've not really had much bullish momentum. We may continue going bearish from any of these points to fill this daily imbalance and order block, but those options are there if we pull back as POIs to look for trades from. So let's go down to the 1 hour and see what that shows. So on the 1 hour, this is the leg I identified. I'm using from this high up here to this low here. Obviously we could also consider maybe this the high. However, it doesn't matter to me. This area here is still a premium and this area here is still the discount. So when using the 1 hour leg, even though it's the internal leg to the 4 hour, we're still in this discount, price may pull back to this 4 hour and 1 hour order block and imbalance. And we could possibly see a reaction from there for price to continue bearish. So it's just something to also bear in mind, because in the 1 hour leg, this is a premium. So we may have a good reaction from this area to get a trade in going with the new bearish trend. Of course, we have the same inversely on DXY. Down in the discount, we have the same imbalances and small order block. This is just a stack of confluences now, because we have 4 hour and 1 hour higher time frame confluences in this premium area. Just like the 4 hour though, we still have imbalances here. As you can see, price is reacting to currently. We could also see there's an order block here just in the middle of price at the equilibrium. Though it's not my favorite type of order block there with no structure, nonetheless we could still see maybe a reaction around this point. Price is reacting to this imbalance here currently. We are correctively pulling back. There's no real great price action or momentum just yet, in my opinion. However, it seems like price is having some sort of reaction to take in the buy side liquidity here and the sell side liquidity here in previous days. It's only natural price pulls back to more of a premium after such bearish price action move. So we don't know exactly where price is going to turn from. It could just continue from here and meet its target if this happens to be the target. However, we're staying vigilant to see what price action does. We have our clear POIs up here in the premium. So those would be our high probability areas. Stuff may happen in the middle of price down here that you just have to be ready for using the lower time frames if that suits you and suits your plan. But if we're to be more patient, then these are the good areas that we could look for up in the premium. Look for trades to go short from. And down here in the discount, if anything of quality shows to go long from. So that would be what I would be looking for. I think I'd prefer to look for longs in this area, but I need to be cautious of how price is reacting and creating structure on the higher time frames, because it may just continue going lower. The pullback is always obviously the more riskier option. So let's go down to the M15 and see what may be available for today. Right, so here on the M15, personally, I don't see much yet. As I said, I want to go long probably from down in this discount area unless price action, shows a massive bullish behavior. So I don't see anything really good quality to go long from yet. However, what I do see is if we look here on DXY, we are quite near our previous daily high, previous weekly high. It would be good if price were to continue going bullish for the time being. And we take the buy side liquidity from this high here, which would be its Asia session low, and then just above its Asia session low is the previous daily high. So if we were to take this buy side liquidity and then preferably break down, creating some sort of new break of structure here, that for me would be preferred. So we'd have another buy side liquidity sweep internally on DXY to sponsor DXY bearishness today to go down towards this discount. And that would be, in my opinion, where there would be some SMC divergence, because this previous weekly, previous daily low here on EU is much further away. So if we were to pull back down to this area here, which is below Asia low, and go into this old order block here on the lower time frame, or maybe even sweep below it, we'd still be well above previous weekly, previous daily lows. Whereas DXY, because of its closeness, may already have swept that. We would have our SMC divergence, which would give us a bullish bias idea for EU. So having now swept this low, and possibly this low, or respecting this order block, and creating SMC divergence from here, price could now either create its structure, or maybe it create a structure on the way, and then break above that. Then I would be more inclined to trade long for the pullback, maybe up just to this recent high here. So how this would look in my strategy, in my order would be, this would be the break of structure, this would be the sweep of liquidity, we would have our SMC divergence, which would be great. And then here would be some sort of inducement maybe during the pullback. And then we'd have our order block or imbalance here on the lower time frame for us to set our order. My order would be set here with the stop loss just below the low. And I'd probably just aim for 3% or whatnot at this recent high, trading with the pullback. So now that we've swept these highs, mitigated a 1 hour order block around here or whatever, we have this sell side liquidity trend line here. Now I won't ignore this trend line because price could come and take it. However, like I said, we would have buy side liquidity swept on DXY long before we'd have this final low taken on EU. So we may get that SMC divergence with this line here, and we would have the sell side liquidity from this low here. Price would obviously need to create a structure and break, and then we would have our negatives of this being against the trend, but we are in a discount. We may have some opposing order block in the way here, but that's fine. We're trading from a discount. We have our confluences of sell side liquidity sweep, break of structure, pullback, SMC divergence, buy side liquidity swept on DXY, trade our idea up until this point somewhere above here. So yeah, that would be probably the best thing I could look for with the longs. And of course, this could happen lower down in price. Now where, of course, we wouldn't be looking for our SMC divergence, but it could happen at these lows. If these two are in sync, we take the high, we take the low, that could give us the buy side liquidity sponsorship we need and the sell side liquidity to create the same structure and of course go back for the highs. So those are the buying opportunities I see. I would prefer to buy, of course, down in this discount. That's my bias. And then we would have our sell opportunities likely up here. So if price were to come up here, mitigate these POIs and then break down, that would be great, of course, as well. Now we do have some news in the afternoon for the MY session, and that of course may bring price up here or further down, we don't know, but this is what the order would look like if it happens. This sort of action may not happen until the NY, so we may not actually be able to enter it, but still we're going to draw this out with our stop loss just above the highs, and we could aim for our recent low for 3% or back down to wherever you want. Yeah, and this would be our trade here using the POI, of course, and we would have our internal buy side liquidity sweep there as well. So those are the clear opportunities I see. Of course, this sell opportunity may happen earlier here, but you would have to wait for the order flow and the break of structure on the lower time frame to come in to give you some confidence there, right? Because there would also be a POI above which may attract price, which would be a negative. So that's what I see. I hope that was clear. I hope you gained value from that. Any questions, let me know in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.